Hi, I'm Dr. Jeffrey LeBenger. At Summit Medical Group, we believe that all citizens need to be informed about the important healthcare issues that affect their lives. That's why we're very proud to support important programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation.
Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by the Russell Berry Foundation, Summit Medical Group, a multi-specialty medical practice providing comprehensive care from birth and pediatrics to geriatric care, concentrating in general wellness, cancer treatment, disease management, and behavioral health. Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, St. Joseph's Health, a passion for healing. It's what's inside us. The Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, founded by the Jewish community. New Jersey Resources. And by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Promotional support provided by NJ.com. Small news, big news, true Jersey. And AM 970, The Answer.
I'm Steve Adubato. It's our pleasure to welcome for the first time on our set Bill Sproule, who is Assistant Executive Secretary Treasurer, Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters. Good to see you, Bill.
Good to see you, Steve.
Describe the organization.
Well, Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters is a 7-state regional council of carpenters. We're approximately 45,000 members, just shy of that. We have everything from carpenters that do heavy construction foundation up to floor layers and finish carpenters. I think our trade is one of the best kept secrets out there as far as the diversity of what carpenters actually do on construction sites.
What states?
Our states are New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, District of Columbia, Virginia, West Virginia, and actually I got to throw in 10 counties in Northern Carolina and 3 counties in Ohio as part of our regional council.
Good stuff. I'm curious about this from a, I don't want to say from a policy perspective, but I was reading in preparation for this about underground construction, the underground construction economy. What is it and why does it matter so much, not just to your members, but to the overall economy?
I think that it's kind of something that the average public people don't understand what's going on in the construction industry, but we refer to it now as tax fraud or payroll fraud in the construction industry. And
that's a big word. Why fraud?
Because contractors are out there operating unscrupulously. They go ahead and they get big contracts for projects, private, not so much as public projects, but mostly in the private sector. And they're $2, $3, $4 million contracts, sometimes even higher than that. They're getting workers that they're actually exploiting by having them do the work for low wages, little or no benefits, most of the time no benefits.
Are they non-union?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's open shop. Non-union is where this occurs because there's no collective bargaining agreements there to protect the workers. And what's happening is they estimate, the economists estimate that this is a $60 billion a year issue in the United
taxes?
States.
Are we getting the taxes?
No, sir.
How is hold on one second. Social Security, taking out FICA, right? Taxes, federal taxes, not coming out?
On these particular jobs, and our teams have gone out and investigated this stuff and submitted complaints to the Department of Labor, whether it's a state agency or the federal
agency. By the way, state
agencies.
taxes paid or not?
No, sir.
No.
Unemployment disability doesn't get paid. And, what happens is the developers on these projects where they decide to utilize this type of a workforce have a choice. They can either go with legitimate contractors or they can try to get their numbers down and whittle the price down. And when they bring in unscrupulous contractors like this, everybody loses because the contractors aren't paying taxes, the workers are being exploited. Workman's compensation is literally non-existent for the workers on that job.
Somebody gets hurt on a job, what happens?
They'll drop them off at the hospital.
Why isn't there more attention or focus on this, Bill?
I think that it's become a problem in New Jersey probably over the last 10 to 15 years. With the housing bubble that occurred and the Great Recession, the workforce in our particular state has kind of grown with this respect. Stockton Hughes Center for Public Policy did a study a couple of years ago on the
Down at Stockton University.
Down at Stockton, yes, sir. And they estimated that there's about 35,000 workers working off the books in New Jersey in the construction industry. And that equates to about anywhere between $540 to $1.2 billion in wages that do not touch any kind of taxes or do not come into the system. It's basically the underground economy. And those estimates are very modest and conservative. I mentioned the $60 billion number nationally. There's states that have predominantly open shop construction, right to work for less, as we call it. And construction workers in some of those states predominantly work this way, and the poverty levels in the construction industry are much, much higher.
Let me ask you this, Bill. We've had offline conversations to disclose your organization is an underwriter of the work that we do, particularly in the area of public policy-oriented programming. I'm curious about this. Do you think that in the minds of some, particularly in political positions, that unions like yours are targets? And if so, targets of what?
It's a very intense environment down in Washington right now, and I think you've got a lot of people that look at unions as something that
you're the enemy.
That we're the enemy, basically.
Where do you think that comes from?
I think that comes from a business perspective where corporations and companies and very wealthy people are trying to get more dollars out of their investments and not really considering the average working people and don't really care too much about the middle class in this country.
How's the president been on this, President Trump?
I don't think he's been very proactive on this issue.
Well, he talks about the working man and woman. Often it's talking about working men, but I believe he means both genders. That he's a champion of the working man and or woman, you say?
I would say that what's happening down in D.C. right now with regards to things that are happening with the president and some of the Supreme Court nominees and things of that nature that are going on, that everything seems to be building up as negative to the working people. We're going to have some difficult times ahead with regards to the middle class and trying to bring more people and elevate more people into the middle class with some of the things that have been going on down
Let's talk diversity and inclusion. You have an initiative, I think it's called Sisters in the Brotherhood. What is that, A? And B, talk to us about immigration in this regard.
Sisters in the Brotherhood is an organization within our organization that we have a group of women in the north, or actually in the Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters, that help recruit other women into the construction industry, and it's been very successful here in New Jersey. It's being expanded into other areas throughout our regional council, cities such as Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and it allows ladies to come into a non-traditional setting and actually have a career path in the construction industry if they so choose. And our
opening
numbers,
doors?
It is opening a lot of doors for folks, yes, sir.
Immigration, minute left. Anti-immigration, let me put it this way. There are folks in this country who believe, obviously, we need to change and improve immigration policy. Open, big question, I know. But those who are shut down the borders, nobody in, you say?
I say that there's 12 to 15 million people already here working amongst us, and shutting down the borders is not the answer.
Aren't you afraid of losing some of the jobs for your men and women?
We're actually bringing in a lot of immigrants into our ranks, into our unions. When you look at the demographic in the construction industry right now, it used to be Irish, Italian, Germans that came into the trade many years ago. Now there is a lot of Latino workers in the industry, whether it's residential or commercial, and a lot of those folks are coming and joining our ranks. What's difficult is the people that don't have the citizens status right now, the tax ID number people, and the people that have to somehow work in the shadows. That has to be tightened up, and we advocate for that to happen. We're actually thinking about looking into having a law firm that maybe could help represent some of our members and their citizenship issues to try to get them help so that they can become working citizens of the country.
Bill, appreciate you joining us. All the best to the men and women in your organization.
Thank you, Steve.
Well
Thank
said.
you very much.
We'll be right back right after this.
To see more Caucus New Jersey with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We're pleased to be joined by two good friends, Colleen O'Brien, Director of Campus Ministry at Caldwell University, and a young man by the name of Devin Lattuga, student member of Campus Ministry at Caldwell University. Good to see both of you.
Good to meet you too.
Here. You go to a cocktail party, not that you drink, and someone says, Campus Ministry, what is it? You say?
I say it is a place on campus where students can come and find community, be challenged in not only their faith, but also how they can grow on campus outside of the academic classroom setting. For example, we offer a lot of service opportunities, places where students can volunteer, go on a week-long immersion trip abroad or within the States. They can engage with other members of the community to talk about their faith, talk about kind of their own sense of spirituality.
What's Boxtown?
Boxtown, yes. So
I've always heard about this.
Yeah.
By the way, I should disclose I continue to be a member of the faculty at Caldwell University, teaching a wonderful group of students there on leadership. But go ahead.
That's great. Yeah, Boxtown actually came out of an idea that students had. So, Devin, I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Actually, at a preaching conference, me and two of my fellow students, we had to make a goal to bring back to our school. And we decided on a Boxtown because one of the other students had experience with it in the past.
What is it?
So a bunch of students get together and they build box houses and they sleep outside for a night to bring.
Is that it? Take a look at it.
Yes.
That's it. Go ahead. Talk about it. Yeah. Sleep outside where?
We did it right in front of our student center, and it helps bring awareness to homelessness.
Why? Okay. Why did you think that was, and it is, so important?
Well, it's one thing to hear about statistics, but it's another thing to experience. Like, it's an experience, you're in that box, you're cold, you're tired, it hurts to sleep, and I think that hits harder than hearing a number or...
You're right. I often say numbers can be numbing, soaking the cold, but let me ask you this. Curious about something. You had a certain track, a professional track you were thinking of. By the way, I shouldn't say track because you're a runner, right? You run for the university, right? But you had a certain direction, a path that you were on. And the work that you've been doing through campus ministry changed that a little bit?
Yes. So I originally wanted to pursue corporate law. I feel that a lot of society is always pushing you to make money and acquire a lot of things with that money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But through my work with campus ministry, I decided that maybe financial success isn't what I'm going for. I want to live a life where I feel that I'm helping others. So perhaps getting into advocacy or politics, something where I can help others would be a better track for me.
You want to make a difference. And talk about advocacy, because I know that I believe he's bringing the students down to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with advocacy?
Yeah,
For a woman, about what?
Yeah, so first, just to kind of expand on the point that Devin was making, when students have these lived experiences where they actually get to participate in a simulation of sorts, they actually sleep outside in a cardboard box for the night. I know that they could go back to their warm bed, but that experience changes them rather than just hearing about a statistic. Because when you get to experience it yourself, I think there's a part of your mind, a part of your heart that says, oh, whoa, people live like this all the time, not just one night that they choose to do. A lot of people have to sleep outside because that's their life circumstances right now. And I think it just makes students a little bit more aware of that.
Talk about the advocacy part. For what?
Yeah, so I traveled to Baltimore and Washington, D.C. with 2 students over the summer. We have a program on campus called the Catholic Relief Services Student Ambassador Group. And for those who might not know, Catholic Relief Services is a global organization that really brings humanitarian aid around the world. Right. And so they hosted a conference for college students to learn a little bit more about leadership within advocacy. So we went to Baltimore for 2 days, learned a little bit about some programs that we were going to advocate for, specifically immigrants and refugees and global hunger.
Stay on that for a second.
Okay.
As we do this program, we'll date ourselves because this program will run after. There are people walking, thousands of people walking.
Yep.
In a caravan, if you will.
Yep.
Refugees trying to flee Honduras, and what many say are horrific conditions. To what degree do you think your students are more sensitive to their plight? Forget about the politics of this, as some perceive it. The human plight of those children, women, men, walking thousands of miles to the Mexican border and who knows where after that, trying to flee. Do you think your students appreciate it more?
I think so, yeah. With the Catholic Relief Services student group, in the fall, almost about a year ago, we put on an immigration simulation. So they actually got to, when they came up, they received a passport with an identity of someone who was trying to get into the U.S., heard a little bit about their circumstances, and then they actually got to experience kind of what it might be like to go through getting into through the immigration process. And in the end, they were either accepted to stay in the U.S. or they were denied access and deported.
It's a powerful experience.
Very much so.
I mean, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I'm curious about this. How do you think this has changed you, your experiences?
Well, like I said before, it definitely changed my
The
professional
career
track.
path I got,
Yeah.
but as a human being, as a person.
I definitely care about others more. I see, humanity in people I didn't see. When I used to walk in like New York City or something, I would see someone on the street who was homeless, and I wouldn't, you just look ahead and you try not to think about it because it's sad to think about. But now I see the person, and now I'm trying to help.
Is that part of the reason why you're involved with what's called the Midnight Run in New York?
Yeah,
What
definitely.
is that?
So a couple times a year, a couple students will get together, and we take a van into New York City, and we either hand out food on some trips or clothing.
What's that feel like?
It's undescribable.
Try it.
So it's very it's emotional to see just these people who are so downtrodden, but they're so thankful and so happy to receive a shirt that may not even be the correct size, or a little bit of soup. And that thankfulness really just shows how much we have and how we should be thankful as well.
Finally, what would you say to all the other folks, young folks, so-called millennials or soon-to-be millennials, who say, that's great, not me, you say?
Well, I would say give it a try. You never know.
Makes a difference.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Devin. And I want to thank you, Colleen, for bringing a powerful message to our audience. We appreciate it.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing what
Thank
you're
you for
doing.
having us.
Thanks for having us.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
We'll be right back right after this.
To watch more Caucus New Jersey, find us online and follow us on social media.
We are pleased to welcome, once again, Jodi O'Donnell-Ames, the founder and president of an organization called Hope Loves Company. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, too.
We met each other at a great event. Describe the Raspberry Awards for making a difference.
It's incredible. Angelica and
Angelica
Russ,
Berry, yeah.
right,
And the late Raspberry.
have created is such a tribute and such an honor to be a part of that. The day, as you well know, is about celebrating people doing good things and
That's right.
inspiring, really.
Unsung heroes.
You have a hard job because you have to continuously say what you do is amazing.
Well, no, we should tell folks that I've been proud to host, humbled to host the event since its inception. And I've met so many incredible people like yourself. You were one of the $5,000 prize
Correct.
winners. Describe Hope Loves Company, the story behind it.
Hope Loves Company is a journey. Basically, in 1995, when I was 29 years old, my husband was diagnosed with ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease. And to be honest, I didn't know much about it. We had a toddler at home, and basically we were told that, and the way I look at it is our lives were cut short because my dreams were with my husband and my child, and thinking about having another child,
Sure.
and our lives ahead of us. And at that moment, it was at the University of Pennsylvania. Now what? Now what do we do? So Hope Loves Company started when he passed in 2001. And I started to think about children who have loved ones living with ALS and the journey they go on, and how many of them are caregivers, and how their lives change. I saw what happened to my daughter.
Right.
My husband, at the time of his passing, he was ventilated, he had a feeding tube, he was speechless, he was paralyzed. And our daughter was 2.5 to 8 years old during that time. And I recognized the things that she said to me, such as, well, all of the other dads. But I also recognized that she had an understanding, a level of understanding about life and about compassion that maybe another 8 or 9-year-old would not have had.
What a profound impact.
A profound impact.
You remarried.
I did remarry. So I started working as a director of communications in Philadelphia. You have a great memory. My husband delivered a book called What Did You Learn Today? He was not my husband at the time,
Right.
but I was working with children, and he brought his late wife's book, who had written it for her 2 children. She had died of ALS.
So the gentleman you married
Yes, Warren Ames.
lost his wife to ALS.
He did. In 6 months, I had 6 years, they had 6 months, 2 days before Christmas, 2 little children. And you know, Steve, what she said when she received her diagnosis was, who will raise my children? That was all she cared about. And it's hard for me to even say that now as a mother of 3 children. And I think that whole experience of now raising 3 children, who all lost a parent to ALS before the age of 11, opened my eyes to not only the challenges that they go through, but the way that we can encourage survival and create even stronger adults.
What do they need? And your organization help them help provide for them?
They need to be, first of all, recognized. They need our society to recognize that there are children who are loving someone with ALS every day, instead of having the possibility of getting better. These people are battling new and unknown challenges. So maybe today you can lift a fork. Maybe tomorrow you need to be fed. Maybe you can have a conversation, and then maybe you're vented and you rely on a Toby to speak.
A what?
A Toby, which is it's a computer-based.
Right.
Steve Gleason uses it.
Yes.
Yeah, and so you would use your computer to communicate with your 6-year-old son. And Steve Gleason just had another baby, so I'm sure that his daughter will be raised to hear that voice through that technology. And so our children, some of them are, they have, today's kids, right? They're doing everything that they do. Your kids have homework,
Yep.
They have school events, then they come home. And I know a child right now who's not doing well in school, even though he's so brilliant, because he comes home and he's caregiving.
Does he have a parent
His
who's dealing
dad lives
ALS?
with ALS. And,
How do you help a child like that? Because I know you have camps.
So we have free camps across the nation. And we get that's the first and foremost, because many children have never met another child who's in their situation. So if they can come to camp and feel, quote unquote, normal for a weekend, and make new friends,
Right.
and make new contacts that they can reach out to and have that support system. Also learning coping skills while at camp.
By the way, you're in 5 states, 18 camps?
We're in 5 states, and as of today, we're making an announcement. We are adding a Chicago camp.
Oh, is that right?
With the Les Turner Foundation, yeah. So we're.
A lot of it is fundraising, isn't it?
It's a lot of fundraising, grant writing, really, more than anything to get, and partnerships to get our camps out. But camp is just the beginning, and then our ongoing goal is to really start talking about how to support children, because there's anticipatory grief, there's grief in general, there's trauma, there's anxiety, there's depression, and And I think this is across a lot of diseases. So I'm not just specifically saying this is for ALS, but for children, caregivers, and children who are in the capacity of providing on a daily basis help, assistance.
Jodi, in a few seconds left, why do you call these children unsung heroes? Before I let you out of here, you call them unsung heroes.
Why do I call them that?
Yeah, why are they unsung heroes?
Well, because they teach me so much. They teach me every day. I might be having a bad day. I've been doing this for a while. Sometimes I get tired and grumpy. And then I see a 6-year-old who is providing care, maybe helping feed a dad, or I see right now
A few seconds, go ahead.
There are a few children in Yardley, dad's getting trached, and they're all picking up and helping each other get to school, and mom's at the hospital, and I see these children who are doing something incredible, and
they are heroes.
and no one's really celebrating them,
Well,
but we are
we're
for
trying to
sure.
recognize them, and we admire and respect the work that you are doing, and also everyone else who's been recognized by the very foundation, and the awards for making a difference. It was a really good choice with you and everyone else. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Check you out next
I'm
time.
so
Thank
grateful.
you.
Thank you.
We're grateful.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by the Russell Berry Foundation, Summit Medical Group, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, St. Joseph's Health, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, New Jersey Resources, and by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus, New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.
Autism is one of the fastest-growing developmental disorders in the U.S. Here in New Jersey, 1 in every 41 children is diagnosed with autism. And when a child is diagnosed with autism, every member of the family is affected. While there currently is no cure for autism, early detection and intervention can offer critical improvements for the child and tremendous benefits for the family. To learn more about autism, contact the Binder Autism Center at St. Joseph's Children's Hospital.